Sean Zittel here with the former three-time two-division world champion, trying to become a world champion for the fourth time. December 7th against Emmanuel Navarrete in Arizona, ESPN. Good ass first fight, should be a good second fight. Oscar, though, to go back to your most previous fight with Liam Wilson from Australia, um, what struck me after you won that fight, the celebration you had after you got the stoppage, it looked like a life or death kind of fight, another one of those wars. And watching at home, I just wondered how many more of those does Valdez still have in him? And what do you think about that, man? How many more of those do you got in you? And did any of that go through your mind after winning that fight? Like,
I got a few under my sleeve where I can pull out. I feel good. I thank the Lord because I feel good. Honestly, I feel good. You know, they say the fighter is the last person to realize when it's time to hang up the gloves, and I always leave that to my trainers, to my father, to honestly tell me, "Hey, man, you shot up already. This is a time where we need to slow down." But in all reality, I feel great. And I think I've proven it, sparring sessions, working out, having young fighters in me helping me out as far as sparring sessions and all. Honestly, I feel great. In my last fight with Leon Wilson, it brought tears of joy winning that fight. The reason why was because I know I still got some more in me. And the reason why is because I felt I won a ticket for another fight. Either was a rematch or another title fight, or in general, just being relative to a sport of boxing. I said this before. I love this too much, John. I love what I do. I love boxing. This is my passion. The same passion that I've always had ever since I was a little kid. I still love this. And I don't want to, just at the thought of thinking, just the thought of not ever boxing again, as far as like retirement, it crushes my soul. It crushes my heart. It breaks my heart. Honestly, I do I do know one day it has to happen, but I just want to extend my lifestyle as far as in the sport. So by that, I've been extra disciplined these last years, and I've always considered myself a disciplined fighter. But as far as what I put in my body, try to eat well, perform well, as far as go run, exercise in the mornings when I'm off vacation, staying active, so I can last in the sport of boxing. Winning the fight with Leon Wilson was a lot of joy because I know I bought myself another ticket for a title shot, and here we are. I got a title fight with Vaquero Navarrete, and knowing that I did a lot of mistakes the first fight, I can always go back and see our mistakes and train hard in the gym. In simple terms, train smart. We've been training smart for this fight, especially for someone like Vaquero. Now I know what to expect. I've been in the ring with him. I know he's a tough fighter. I know he hits hard. I know he's awkward. Now we go to the gym and we're training specifically for this fighter because the first time I went in there not knowing what to expect, or at least thinking I know what to expect until I'm inside that ring with him. But now that I know that, I just gotta be a smarter fighter in there, and I thank the Lord for having another opportunity to fight against him because I feel a lot of fighters don't get a second chance, a second opportunity, and I've been one of those who actually has an opportunity. So I feel blessed. I feel more excited than ever because this is the fight for me. This is the fight that defines my career because you know, I've never. This is my first time I'm going with a rematch with somebody who's actually beat me. It can make it even more complicated because you know where you've been in there. Your mind could playing tricks with you, saying that you already lost to him. But no, I refuse. I want to be an example, Sean. I want to be an example to say you can lose. You're always obligated to come back, and you're obligated to come back stronger. You can do it. And then just because you have a loss doesn't mean you're out. I proved that with my last fight with Leon Wilson. But I want to make it even a better impression coming back with the guy who beat me, the guy who really beat me. Who there was a fight where it was only one side. It wasn't a close fight. It was one-sided fight. But I want to prove to the world that, and to all fighters out there, that you can go back and train, and you can come back and be victorious. Nothing in life is for sure. So I want to set that example. For me to set that example, I first got to win this fight.
what could you, because I've been around long enough to understand you can't just tell the fans your game plan. But when you talk about being smarter and knowing the things you're going to have to do a second time around. What could you actually share with the fans as to what it is you got to do to be effective in fight number two?
So one thing that I will say is that the first time that I was fighting, was preparing for myself for him, I will see tape, and I will see maybe he opens up too much. Maybe he throws that loopy shot, that crazy uppercut. He jumps in with his shots. And you look at him and say, I can get him. I'm gonna get him right there. I'm gonna get him with the straight right hand. I'm gonna get him with that left hook. I'm gonna get him with here. I'm gonna get him with there. And it's one of those things like in sport, when you see a baseball player not catching the ball, when you see a professional baseball not catching the ball, when you see a soccer player filling a penalty, when you see a football player missing the field goal, and you say, why did he miss that? You could say it's one of those things that are easier said than done. And you see it on TV and it looks simple. And when I was inside that ring with Vaquero, I realized why he wins. And I realized why it works for him. Why that loopy right hand? Why that loopy uppercut? Why this? Why that distance? I realized why he's a three-time division world champion. It was only the time when I was inside the ring that I realized that. But that being said, I didn't really study him that first time. This time, I know what to expect. So now coming back, being the smarter fight, trying to be the smarter fighter, looking at him, visualizing him, studying him. When I see him throw that jab or that right hand or crazy left hook, I can visualize it better now that I've been inside the ring with. Now I'm preparing myself, not just physically, like I did my first time with Vaquero, because I prepared myself 100% for that fight, but only for the fight. I didn't prepare myself physically for Vaquero Navarrete. So now I prepare myself for him, for his style. Try to get sparring partners that really imitate him. So that's something that we've been trying to do. Just like I said before, in simple terms, being the smarter fighter and preparing ourselves for him.
You know, kind of going back to what we started with, the big picture wise about your career. There's exceptions, Andre Ward or Lennox Lewis, Joe Calzaghe, but for the most part, 99% of champions, the sport retires them at some point. Do you think, is that a goal at all to walk away on a win, on a high note, or are you one of these type of fighters that they gotta beat it out of you to get you out of that ring?
Yeah, man, to beat me, you gotta do it, man, because I'm coming with everything. Like I said before, I look at fighters out there and I look at them and I see them what they put in their body, what they eat, or how they run, or how they train. And I look at them, I said, they don't want this. They're not that hungry. Not as I am, not as hungry as I am. Like I said before, Sean, I love this too much. This is my world, and I don't want to retire, at least not anytime soon. But I gotta win, and for me not to retire, I gotta win. I gotta win. And it's you gotta want it as much as you want to breathe. You gotta want it as much as you when you're hungry. Though. And but you believe in me, I want this. I want this. And I look at my opponent. I ask myself, does he want this more than I do? And every time I answer myself is no, he does not, because it's gonna be very hard to see somebody who wants this more than I do. Hungrier than ever, because I'm always hungry to win for success. Always that fear of losing, fear of failure is there. So that's helps me waking up to go run, to go train, to stay disciplined, to stay focused on the one thing. And that's just it. I think that's the key for me. Just doing anything with that passion, the same passion as I always had. So, you know, I don't know when is it going to be the time to hang up the gloves, but I know it's not now.
And lastly, man, because there's other reporters that got to get some time in with you on the circuit, but so I got to throw two in one. And again, big fight, title fight coming up with Navarrete December 7th. But just to ask about Shakur, two in one here. Going back to that fight, was that a moment? Because we see champions when they got to face a younger champion, sometimes they find a way out. Was that a moment at all where you kind of knew it was going to be a tough fight to win against that style? And was there anything at play of, but I got to do it anyways. I got to do what's right by the sport, do right by, boxing and do the right thing and fight this young guy. And then secondly, do you think he beats Tank? Because that's the fight everybody wants to see at 35.
I knew it was gonna be a tough fight. Once you're a world champion, you know that all fights are tough. And I was a champion since 2016, so I know each and every fight that I've been, it was not easy. But I know there's levels to this, and I know Shakur's defense is going to be a challenge. But we had good sparring, and I knew I was going to win. I was in my mind. I was like, man, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. It doesn't matter. They made a big mistake putting me in there with them. That was my mindset going in there. And once I was in that ring, I realized why he could be a great fighter, defense wise, and he's just ring IQ, his footwork, his defense, of course. Um, he doesn't carry a big punch, but only because I believe that he just doesn't sit down and punch. He's not trying to look for that knockout. He's just trying to punch you. But well, maybe he does carry a big punch, but he just doesn't decides not to hit you with that whatever punch he got. He decides to outbox you in a classy way. So I knew it was going to be hard. And then another thing is, you know, I hate the fact that in it was a part of generation of boxing where protecting your undefeated record meant more than actually fighting the best fights with the best fighters. I grew, like I said several times, I grew up watching Eric Morales and Barrera and those fights, and they didn't really care back in those days, losing their undefeated record to give the fans what they want. I wish my fight in Shakur was a better fight for the fans who would have enjoyed. It was too one-sided and very defensive style, and I don't think it was an attractive fight, but yeah, I take my hat up to Shakur because his abilities to fight. He beat me right. I felt obligated as far as the boxing, for boxing, like I said before, boxing is my world, and I didn't want to be a champion, but I didn't want to be considered a champion and not facing the best. That I think that will be a very sucky way to be a champion, almost like in a Jake Paul way. If yeah, you're winning, but how are you winning? Who you're fighting? Almost in that similar way. No, and don't mean to disrespect Jake Paul. I just mean to reality as far as real boxing. So I just wanted to be the real champion. I wanted to beat Shakur, and I didn't beat him. And that's that, and I'm happy with it. I mean, I'm not happy with it, but I'm just if you beat me and I give you my best, you got to take it in the chin. You got to take it. This is life. You win some, you lose some.
Mm-hmm.
That's life in general. Not every lawyer wins every case. So you got to see life like that. And sometimes you learn more from your losses than from your victories. And who do I think will win from Shakur and Tank? Honestly, I don't know because I consider Tank a beast. But I've been inside the ring with Shakur. I know how hard it is to hit Shakur. But then again, Tank has a way more speed than I do. So I go back and forth, and I can visualize either one winning. I can visualize maybe being a very technical fight, Shakur winning by points, unanimous decision, or I could see Tank hitting that one shot that rocks him and takes him to that one spot where fighters ask themselves, "Do you want this? Is it worth it? Are you willing to risk your life inside that ring just for the fans, or just to win, or is it like?" Forget it. Just take the money and go and go. We don't know what would happen. So, Tank, I visualize Tank winning, and I can visualize Shakur winning. For me, it's a 50-50 fight because it all depends who falls in whose trap first.
Hey, Oscar, thanks so much, man. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. We'll be watching December 7th, brother. Thank you for your time.
Sean, anytime.